thought at midnight it was gonna be like Cinderella, but the complete opposite. I was going to look in the mirror and I was gonna be like, I'm melting. Hi, welcome to the very first episode of Big Sister Talk. I am your big sister, Jasmine, and today we are going through one of my favorite topics. What would I want to tell my younger self? And so if you're in your 20s, this is for you. This is for you. And we're gonna do a little get ready with me too, because I have to get my life together. So I've already primed my face, prepped and primed. I use the e.l.f. Power Grip, which is phenomenal. But when I was in my 20s, I, of course, loved it. I had a lot of fun, but also I had to figure out a lot on my own. I was the oldest daughter at that. I always strive for perfection, and I found myself in a lot of times like seeking validation from others, especially from my boyfriends. I just didn't have that financial literacy, and although I feel like I had a good head on my shoulders, I did a lot of things that I feel like I could have easily avoided. And if I had a big sis like in their 30s that was like, hey, maybe you should do this. Now that I am 34 and I've had this time to like really think about things and experience things, I just want to tell my own pieces of advice as far as what I would do in my 20s. Yeah. First thing I am going in is with my e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter in the color shade 7 Deep/Rich. I love using this all the time. And if you see me looking over here, I have a screen here, I have a screen there, I have lights all behind me. This was a whole debacle. I think the number one thing is knowing that your self-worth is key. Really learning and realizing that you are a beautiful specimen. You're meant to be here on this earth. You're here to experience things and really, really enjoy life because you are that girl. Remember that. Remember that wholeheartedly. Remember your self-worth. And also one thing I will say, I felt like my self-worth was based on the external validation of others, like especially when it came to relationships and things like that. If I felt like a man thought I was attractive, that was a win for me, which, I mean, everyone wants to feel like they look good and things like that, but I felt like if someone was able to give me that validation, that meant I was worth something. Also, societal expectations. I lived on the East Coast at the time. I now live in Omaha, so it is a different way of life. And at that, I lived in Virginia Beach, and Virginia Beach is a lot of plastic, and everyone is always working out. Everyone is always trying to look their best. And when you're in your 20s, of course you're gonna fall into that. And so I felt like I was always on the scale. Like the number on the scale was a huge indicator of if I felt good that day or if I felt bad that day, if I was going to eat or starve myself. Don't ever do that. It took me a really long time, and I literally had a breakdown right before I turned 30. I was like literally 29 and like 11 months, and I had this meltdown with a partner of mine at the time, and it wasn't a bad breakup, but I was so tired of just feeling like I was living for men or other people or societal expectations. I couldn't do it anymore. And so when I literally turned 30, I went on this whole journey of just trying to figure out myself. And at the end of the day, I now know my self-worth here. I know my self-worth. Literally someone could tell me something and it might hurt my feelings, but at the end of the day, I know who I am. I love who I am, and I love where I'm going, and I love where I've been, and it's all about self-worth. At the end of the day, you need to know who you are, how great you are, and what you bring to the table. Don't ever let anyone, whether it's a boyfriend or a friend or a job or any weird situation, or make you think that you are not that girl, because you are worthy of everything you put your heart to and your mind to, and you're gonna get there. But you have to know that you are worthy of it. I am going in with the Sephora Best Skin Ever in the 55N color, and this is one of my favorite concealers right now. I do love my Urban Decay. If you know me, you know I'm an Urban Decay girly for life, but this one's really good and it's really creamy. In the wintertime, my skin just really goes through it. We need all the creamy concealers we can get, so we're working on that. Number 2 is financial literacy. A credit card would hate to see me coming. A credit card would see me and be like, girl, not again. I really didn't know much as far as financial literacy, and I don't blame my parents because my parents were also learning this as well. Now things have changed, but understand where you are. Like if you need to do a monthly budget, even if you feel like it's boring and it sucks, do a monthly budget. See how much you make in a paycheck, how much taxes are getting taken out, and all these other things. Sit down, and if you need help, find someone to help you. If you have parents that can help you, friends, another resource, look into it. Your financial literacy means so much. I will say this, I feel like my frontal lobe has fully developed finally at the age of 34. And sometimes, to be honest and be very frank with you, I am still dealing with financial decisions I made 10 years ago at 24. You may not feel like it's something that may matter in 10 years. It may not, but it could. And so really take that time to focus on that budgeting. I'm now going in with this Black Radiance contour stick. It's in the darkest color, so it's like dark deep. And I've been using this literally since I was in my 20s. Not per se this package, but I absolutely love this concealer stick. It's great for beginners. I am not a makeup expert, but I do want to look put together and all that good stuff. And this concealer stick is really easy to maneuver. It's creamy. It's great for combination skin, dry skin, and especially in the wintertime, phenomenal. And if you're able to, we're getting back into the budgeting. I'm all over the place today. And if you're able to, start to see if you can invest. And one thing I did, I went to go see someone. My parents at the time, we were all literally learning financial literacy, which was really cool. And so I was able to find and work with an investor and really learn like what I should do. And also at the end of the day, like you want to be financially independent. I'm now setting, I set a lot honestly, but I'm using the Rare Beauty in the color medium deep under my eyes and then around the perimeter of my face because I get really oily. Like this combination skin in the wintertime makes no sense to me. Makes sense. Make it make sense, please. This is my everyday look. I feel like I'm gonna add lashes today just because I wanna go to a friend's like birthday brunch after this and we're gonna take photos, and I feel like lashes always elevate the look, so we're gonna do that. The next thing is working on building healthy habits. Just wanna give my younger self a hug. I really do, because she was really just trying to be the best she could, like genuinely, and it wasn't it. So I then go in with this Hydromaniac blush in the color Unhinged. I absolutely love this, and I have blush blindness. I have always loved having like these really pink cheeks. Don't ask me why. I just love it. It's just my thing. Genuinely, it is my thing. Hardcore. I am gonna tone it down. I'm gonna go back in with that Rare setting powder, and I'm gonna use this and just set a little bit more under the nose and around my eyes as well. And I'll blend this in at the end for a final look. I was around for the makeup era, the 2016 to 2019 era, and it was phenomenal. Like Carly Bible, Imrezi, Jenna Marbles, like you guys missed an era. Go look at the OG YouTubers because YouTube is coming back this year, and those girls were the OGs. Okay, but back to reality. Number 3 is building healthy habits. Start now. And of course you're young, you're fun, you can recover quickly, but my mental health was really bad in my 20s, and I felt like I didn't really take care of it because it was just so easy to mask. Really just taking the time to speak to a therapist if you need to. I got into yoga, and again, it wasn't until I was 29 when I really started looking at myself in the mirror and saying, I am really hurting and I really want to take care of myself, because at the end of the day, hurt people hurt people. And it got to a point to where I couldn't hold it in anymore. I just couldn't. And although that time was really hard and dark for me, it really helped me. It really opened my eyes to see first my self-worth and what I was worthy of, and I didn't need to be this person always masking, trying to impress others. but I could just be myself, and the right people would come into my life and in my circle and accept me for who I was. But at the end of the day, I had to accept myself. I went on this beautiful journey, and I'm still going on it. That's the beautiful thing of life, is you're always learning and you're always growing. Speaking to a therapist was key, and it was one of the most eye-opening things. It's very humbling. You are as vulnerable as you can be. But at the end of the day, my friends at one point literally told me, like, we're not your therapist. We're not here to help you. And I took that very seriously, and also that person ended up not being a good friend anyway, but that's another story for another day. They did have a valid point in that moment. And I feel like when you go to a therapist or something like that, I messed up under my eye. I don't know if you guys can tell. You can speak to someone that's unbiased. They have this new perspective versus your friends or your family that most likely will be biased, and you're just able to share how you feel and get a professional point of view for how you should handle things. I'm putting on lashes today. I found these Jessica Simpson lashes, and I think I'm gonna try them. Jessica Simpson, she is a millennial girl. I don't know if you Gen Zs wouldn't even know about her, but she was and is one of those girls. But just taking care of yourself and eating healthy. I really was all or nothing. And that is still my mentality to this day, but I will say in your 30s, you get this whole new perspective. So do not be afraid of your 30s, because I remember I was terrified. The night before I was up, I thought at midnight it was gonna be like Cinderella, but the complete opposite. I was going to look in the mirror and I was gonna be like, I'm melting. I literally cried. It was also 2020, so it was also a really hard time for all of us anyway, but I was devastated. And now that I'm 34, I'll be 35 this year. First of all, I don't feel like I'm 35. And also I took care of myself, so I don't look like I'm 35. At least I hope not. And if I do, don't tell me. I wanna live in bliss. I wanna live in ignorance, so don't be bursting my bubble, okay? I'm gonna do a quick little set and then use the fan on my face. This is so cool. This is the cutest thing. So, at the end of the day, have fun, find balance, but eat well, exercise, move your body, and really exercise and work your mind as well, whether that means doing things that invigorate you and excite you to healing those traumas and past pains that you have. A lot of the decisions that I made in my 20s, especially if they were really impulsive, were made through pain and fear and anxieties. I'm older, I do slow down and I think about, like, is this actually something that will help me or hurt me in the long haul? Back in the day, I didn't care. I was a crash out queen. I would crash out so hard and I enjoyed it. In 2025 and here on after, we are not crash out queens. We are classy queens. Don't do anything you regret. We're taking care of our mind, body, and spirit, okay? Capiche? Capiche. I really love these lashes, and they haven't even dried yet. Okay. Okay, Jessica. Number 4 is one of my favorite ones, and it's one that I wish I would have had a constant reminder of, because I was always just, I'm very type A. I'm a firstborn, oldest daughter. I felt like I needed to have everything figured out. I felt like I needed to have a husband. I felt like I needed to have the perfect job. I felt like I needed or had to have, like, to be as wealthy as possible, and I had to be breaking all these generational curses at once, and it was very it consumed my mind. And you do not have to have it figured out. Like, I love this saying, and someone told me before of, in my 20s, I thought I knew everything and I knew nothing. Now in my 30s, I realize I know nothing and I feel like I'm expected to know everything. And that is essentially how it is. In my 20s, I thought I knew everything. I didn't take criticism well. I didn't take, and it's different from people that are like trying to hurt you versus people that are actually trying to help you. I always took offense to someone like giving me some type of critique or just trying to help me out. Or if my parents were like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, I was like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm an adult, and it's like, they've been through this before. Maybe I should listen to them, you know? Maybe I should. I'm using my favorite color. This is the Sephora Contour Lip Gel in the color 17 Molasses. I love this color. Like, look at that difference. You need this color. It's a good color for any skin complexion. It really is, but especially mine. Guys, I was in a situationship/relationship for 10 years of my life, from literally 19 to 29. Isn't that crazy? My friends in college, they were like, you're gonna be the first one to get married and have kids, and I genuinely thought that. We dated for 5 years, and then 5 years after that, we were like pretty much a situation, and we did long distance. If someone asked me to do that now, I'd be like, there's the door. You can leave. No, but I did it because I just felt like I had to do this. I had to prove something to myself. I had to prove to these other people that I was gonna be with this man and we were gonna be successful and happy and all this stuff. Like, and at the end of the day, when those 10 years passed, we had nothing in common. And the crazy part is, we stopped talking, and 11 months later, I met my husband. 11 months later. I didn't even realize that until like a year ago. Like, my husband and I were talking and going through things, which it sounds like a weird conversation, but it really wasn't. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, that's how crazy life is. Like, and I was down bad when we broke up. I was terrified to tell people that we were no longer together. We were no longer talking. My parents were like, tell me, they're like, are you sure this is your person? Because he might be your person, but you're not his. It's funny now, but I was down bad. I was so devastated. I'm now using the YSL Love Shine in the color 209. It's really pretty. It's just like this really pretty pinky color, and it's super hydrating. It's so cute. Kiss, kiss. But you don't have to have it all figured out. You really don't. Whether it's a job or the expectation to be married and all these other things, like, what's meant for you will come to you. I always say this, whether I am like teaching a spin class or a Pilates class, just be 1% better than you were yesterday. That's 45 minutes to an hour of just either working out, working towards these goals I'm talking about. And I promise you, that job, that relationship, that friendship, that opportunity, whatever you're looking for and praying about in this lifetime, it will come to you. It's not been on your heart for no reason. It's because it's meant for you. If you've thought about it and you feel like you want it, it's for you. Listen to me. And so it may not happen at 25 or 30. 25 and 30, at least for me, were really big ages that really shook me to my core. It was like I've had this like mental note in my head of like, or the alarm clock went off like, you're a failure, you didn't do this. And it was like, no, you don't have to have everything figured out. Have fun. You're only gonna be in your 20s one time. Also, I use the Marc Jacobs crayon gel color, or crayon in the color black. It's literally the color black. I got this sample a few weeks ago and loved it. I loved it. So when this runs out, I am going to get the bigger one because I don't know why. I have never loved under eyeliner, and now I do. I love this darker liner in my under eye. I don't know. Words, they're so hard today, clearly. My last one is one that I wanted to end on a very serious note, guys. Set boundaries with yourself and others. Do not let that relationship or that job or that friendship take a toll on you when you know you should have stepped out of it a long time ago. You know you should have left that relationship or that friendship or that job a long time ago. Put that boundary in place. Say, no, I can't do that. That's not for me. My favorite saying lately has been, I'm not gonna allow you to project that on me. I'm not gonna allow you to, whatever you have going on in that mental capacity, in that mental space of yours, to affect me. That's your own thought. Keep it in that space. Keep it in that space. Like, that is one of my favorite things to say, and I wish I would have said it a long time ago, because I dealt with a lot of things and I dealt with a lot of heartbreak and a lot of betrayal when I could have easily avoided it by just setting a boundary. Just setting a boundary. Whatever excess powder I have left, in my little Rare Beauty. Tap, 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 get it all off. I know you can see that floating all over the place, so I can inhale it. Just kidding. I put it in my T-zone. We're gonna do some highlighter as well. Set those boundaries. If that is the only thing you take from this conversation, this big sister talk, I'm shaking you. Get away from that loser. Get away from that man. I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I thought I would never share this story, but I feel like you're my sister. I really need to be upfront with you. And don't be telling me my business either, okay? Don't be telling my business. I was with this man and he was so handsome. He was like what I wanted. I fought for this man. Don't ever fight him. Don't do it. Never fight for a man. He would have me just looking crazy all over the place and making me look like a fool. He would be like, I don't want you. And I would be like, I would go home with this man. It was bad, it was bad. I should have set boundaries. I should have set boundaries. Set those boundaries, let go of those people that hurt you, those friendships that take, that job that wants you to stay an extra hour even though you got off an hour ago. Say no, say you don't have the time, you don't have the mental capacity, and also their problem is not your problem. That sounds like a personal problem for you. So with that, this is the final look. Thank you for listening to this. I hope I really helped. Let me know what you think. Sound off in the comments. I always am down to have a conversation. And also if I missed any tips, and I want to do a part 2 of this as well, so keep on lookout of that. But if I missed anything, share that as well because we are a community. You're my sister. I love you. And you got this. Your 20s are meant for you to have fun and do all these cool things. So do it. Just don't be a crash out queen. Okay? Don't be a crash out queen. Love you guys and love and light forever. Bye guys.